On a stormy night, Daniel's car broke down on a deserted road. The rain was relentless, pounding against his windshield until the wipers could barely keep up. Through the downpour, a sign flickered. Ashwood Hotel, vacancy. It was the only light for miles. With no other choice, Daniel stepped inside. The lobby smelled of dust and mildew. Behind the counter sat a thin, pale clerk who wouldn't meet Daniel's eyes. When Daniel asked for a room, the man hesitated before sliding a brass key across the desk. Room 375. Most people, the clerk whispered, lips twitching as if reluctant to continue. Don't stay long in that room. He forced a weak smile. Storm's bad tonight. You'll be fine. The hallway was dim, carpet damp, doors tarnished. But when Daniel reached his room, something unsettled him. The number 375 wasn't just engraved on the door. It looked carved, deep, obsessive, gouged into the brass again and again. Inside, the room was ordinary at first, but wrong. The wallpaper peeled in long strips. A faint smell of mold lingered. The ceiling light flickered and buzzed, straining to hold on. Daniel set down his bag, lay on the stiff bed, and tried to rest. Sometime past midnight, a sound woke him. A scratching, not outside, from inside the walls. Then whispers, muffled voices, layered, too many to count, speaking in tones too low to understand. And then a knock. 3 slow, deliberate taps. From the closet. Daniel's breath caught. He opened the door. Nothing. Only a row of old coats swaying gently. But when he pushed them aside, he saw scratches clawed deep into the wall at the back of the closet, as though someone had tried to escape. Exhaustion overtook him, and he fell into a restless sleep. But the dream was worse. He was back in the same room, except the furniture was wrong, the walls stretched. And in the chair by the window sat a tall, shadowy figure. It did not move. It only watched. Every time Daniel woke, he was still in the dream. The bed moved closer. The shadow sat nearer. The room kept changing. Over and over, he was trapped in a looping nightmare until he couldn't tell whether his eyes were open or shut. At dawn, Daniel staggered to the sink. His head pounded, his mind fogged. He looked into the mirror. At first, just his own exhausted reflection. But then, it lagged. It tilted its head a second too late. And then, it smiled. Daniel's lips hadn't moved. The reflection leaned forward and mouthed a single word. Stay. Panic drove him to leave. He packed his bag and hurried down the corridor. But no matter which way he turned, towards the lobby, the stairwell, even down 2 flights of stairs, every path led him back to the same door. Room 375. The hotel had folded in on itself. In desperation, Daniel clawed at the peeling wallpaper. Beneath it, words were carved into the plaster. Not my room, not my face, not my mind. Some letters were gouged so deep they tore into the wood beneath. The wall pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Daniel staggered back, bile rising in his throat. He turned to the mirror. His reflection was no longer his. Faces flickered across it, men, women, even children, each one twisted in fear. Some pressed their palms against the glass, their mouths open in silent screams. They weren't reflections, they were past guests. The chair by the window creaked. The shadowy figure from Daniel's dreams now sat there in waking reality. Its form was sharper, darker, impossible to look at directly. When it spoke, the voice was Daniel's own. You were never a guest, it said. You've always been room 375. The mirror rippled like water. Daniel's reflection stepped out. Calm, composed, identical, but more real than him. It straightened its collar and gave Daniel a pitying look. You've done your part. Hands reached from the glass, cold, relentless. They dragged him in. Daniel clawed at the walls, leaving new scratches alongside the old. But the mirror swallowed him. And inside, Daniel found himself seated in the chair. A new shadow, waiting. Down in the lobby, the clerk sat quietly at his desk. The door opened, and a new traveler stepped inside, soaked from the storm. "Car broke down," the man muttered. "Need a room." The clerk hesitated, then slid a key across the desk. The brass gleamed faintly. 375. "Most people," the clerk whispered, voice trembling. "Don't stay long in that room." He forced a weak smile. The cycle began again.